45 minutes east of Birmingham, nearly 50 years ago, a giant super speedway rose out of the ground. Bigger than Daytona, steeper than Daytona, faster than Daytona. The fastest speedway America has ever seen. And tomorrow, 40 of America's best will race here today. We're going to find out where they will start tomorrow. It's pole position qualifying for the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series at Talladega, Alabama. Rain yesterday, beautiful weather today, sunny. Winds out of the west-southwest at least 15 miles an hour with that flag out straight. 75-degree beautiful day as we get set to run for the pole. My partners here have a total of 7 of those, 2 for Darrell Waltrip, 5 for Jeff Gordon. That wind, that flag stretched out straight. How's that going to affect these cars?
Well, it's qualifying, and so any and everything affects the car a little bit. You know how the driver gets off pit road, but that's a crosswind. It's really strong. I don't think you'll feel the effects of that. Maybe when you come out of turn 4, maybe for an instant, but then the grandstand's there and you'll be good to go.
Jeff, yesterday turned into a very rainy day here. We got a total of, what, 15 minutes of practice? Is that enough?
Yeah, about 10 or 12 laps. I think it was good to get on track for those that did get on track, a few that didn't, just to get the heights right. It's all about those heights when these crew chiefs and engineers are fine-tuning. So much hard work, meticulous work has gone into the bodies on these race cars to get ready to come here to Talladega. And that one lap, there's a lot of pride on the line today, and so we'll see who's got it dialed in from that little bit of practice they had.
All right, 2 poles here, 5 poles here, but in a very different format than we have now. This is a modified version of knockout qualifying. It will be 2 rounds, but instead of go out and run as many laps as you want whenever you want, it will be 1 car at a time, rapid fire in round 1, and the fastest 12 will advance. And of the 5 cars that do not have charters, 1 of those will go home after today. Chase Elliott among those at the ready for pole position qualifying at America's fastest speedway. Kyle Larson signs an autograph for a fan as we get ready to qualify at Talladega. Austin Dillon at the ready. Now, Bill France built and opened Daytona International Speedway in 1959. This track came along 10 years later. And to draw fans here to the middle of Alabama, they knew it had to be bigger. So Daytona will fit comfortably inside Talladega. Daytona's banking 31 degrees, Talladega 33. So it's longer, it's steeper, it's faster, with a backstretch long enough to land most airliners at 4,300 feet. Opened in 1969. Richard Brickhouse got the first checkered flag. All right, let's get down to the start line and join Vince Welch.
Standing by with Chase Elliott. He was the pole winner for this event a year ago. His dad, Bill Elliott, won the pole here at Talladega 8 times. We'll get to that here in a moment. But first, what's special about winning pole at Talladega?
This is such a cool track. I mean, for the environment and the fans, and obviously the history here with my dad and my family, I think makes it cool for me. It's not far from home, so we don't have to come very far to be over here at this racetrack from where we live in North Georgia. So love coming here. Obviously a lot of things out of your hands, but there are a lot of things that are in your hands too. So we'll hopefully get a good starting spot with the Hooters 24 and go from there.
We mentioned your dad won pole here 8 times, including in 1987, 212.8, and your shoes commemorate that. Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, so just had these shoes made for this race. Alpine Stars did a great job making them, just kind of honor that, 30 years ago this weekend. So pretty cool. Obviously I'm a little biased, but I think that was a really cool mark in racing history, to run 212 in the 80s. I mean, that's unreal. So just such a testament to him, and my Uncle Ernie, Uncle Dan, and obviously my granddad, that they did things their way. They didn't ask for anybody else's help. And I think, just a bunch of guys from North Georgia made it happen and raced with the big boys and beat them more times than not. So, like I said, I'm a little biased, but I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, cool indeed, and a cool salute to them as well.
It is very cool, Vince. The Elliots have a lot of records here. that Chase will likely expand on. Darrell started 4th in that race when Bill ran 2:12, qualifying at 210.4.
Yeah, it was an incredible time in the sport. The cars were really amazingly fast for that time, like Chase said, and that's 1987 for heaven's sake.
What do you guys think that these cars would run today without a restrictor plate? I mean, we know that's never going to happen because it would be too fast, but boy, I'd be fascinated to see it happen, you know, just one time, maybe in a closed session.
That'd be interesting.
Probably over, I'd say somewhere over 230.
Wow.
Easily.
First qualifier, and the qualifying order is set in the inverse order of practice speeds from yesterday. So this is DJ Kennington from St. Thomas, Ontario, driving for Marty Gaunt and Gaunt Brothers Racing, Triad CNC, in their Toyota. Looking for his second start. He started 28th at Daytona back in February, the sister track to Talladega. And look at him hug that yellow line through the corners.
Yeah, Mike, he's only got 2 previous starts, Daytona, as you mentioned, and Phoenix the other one. So this is his 3rd attempt to make a Cup race. See how it fares for him today.
Now the first 4 drivers to take time, plus Corey LaJoie, who did practice and will roll off 11th. Of those 5 drivers, there are only 4 spots for those open cars, the non-chartered cars, in the 40-car starting field. So one of those will go home.
And what you'll see, the get up to speed lap, the cars will run a much wider line, and then on this final lap, as you see here with DJ running right around the yellow line, we believe it's about 250 feet difference, and just let you get that momentum up to speed to get to that line as fast as you possibly can.
52.074 for DJ Kennington. This is Reed Sorensen. He had been driving the number 15 for Premium Motorsports, switches to the 55 here for Talladega. 8 starts so far this year, a best of 29th in California for the Georgia driver.
I've always thought Reed was a good shoe, man. I mean, he's had a few opportunities. I think he finished 12th in this race, or in the fall race here last year. He's just a good, solid race car driver.
He's had a top 10 here.
And what you'll see in that shot right there, you see the skirts down the left side of the car or right side of the car. The teams would like to just seal those up. There's height restrictions and springs and shocks that these teams, you know, are limited on what they can do. But you can see that skirt or the splitter there at the front of the car. Want to just seal that up. And with these cars not getting much track time yesterday, not a lot of these crew chiefs were able to get those heights just right for today's qualifying session.
So the Exchange of America Toyota clocks in 51.451 for Reed Sorensen. Jimmy Johnson, Jamie McMurray talk it over. Brendan Gaughan from Las Vegas, the Beard Oil Distributing Chevy. Brendan got crashed out of the Xfinity race earlier today, and he is currently fastest 51.441 seconds. 186 miles an hour. Here's the Golden Corral Chevy for Elliott Sadler. He finished 2nd in today's Xfinity race, makes only an occasional start in the Cup Series now, driving this same Tommy Baldwin Chevrolet that he ran at Daytona.
He's got I think Elliott's got 3 poles here, so it's always been a track he runs well. He demonstrated that this afternoon earlier.
Car doesn't have the speed. 51.513 for Sadler. Jamie Little.
And Ty Dillon is another one of those drivers who just got out of his race car. He finished 14th in the Xfinity Series race. So now you jump inside a completely different race car, Ty. What do you have to do mentally just to adjust to qualifying?
Luckily, qualifying for the driver is not too hard. I just got to make sure I hit my shifts. They're a little bit different mark with a Monster Energy Cup car. This will actually be our first laps in our Geico Chevy, so we're going to have to feel it out as far as how the steering and everything is for tomorrow. But I know Boothie and guys got me a fast race car, so we're going to go make a lap and rest for the rest of the day.
Mash the gas, turn left, and hope for the best, Mike.
Thanks, Jamie. Joey Gase on track. He's driving the Sparks Energy Chevrolet. Has 1 start this season at Daytona, where he started 29th, finished 23rd, a career best. He finished 16th in today's race. Now here's the differential towards the upper right of the screen. That is the differential to the fastest car right now. About 78 hundredths of a second for Geico. Now this is one of the 36 cars that has a charter and is locked into the field, regardless of qualifying effort. So Geico 52.227. Matt DiBenedetto, 9 starts this season, a best of 22nd at Atlanta. He finished top 10 at Daytona. He's in the E.J. Wade Foundation 4.
And he's in the green. Came to the line really good.
Tell you, there's no greater feeling as a driver, and you know this, Jeff, to look down and that tack is higher than it's been all day, man. I'm going somewhere, boys. I'm going fast.
That tack's about to go down as he gets over here to turns 3 and 4. I tell you, that wind is blowing like I've never seen it blow here at Talladega.
Really strong crosswind, particularly off of that corner as you head into it. See the flag there? I mean, that's a huge American flag, and that thing is standing straight out.
DiBenedetto has 4 Talladega starts and a best finish here of 18th.
Wind's so strong that Chris Myers it messes up his hair. I can't understand it.
Fastest so far, and the first driver in the 50-second range is Matt DiBenedetto at 187 miles per hour. You're riding along in the Arctic Coolers Chevrolet with Cole Witt of Alpine, California, who started 12th at Daytona in February. Or excuse me, he started 17th at Daytona, finished 18th.
His best start here in 7 races, 22nd. That's back in 14. Maybe he can improve on that today. Got a little better car, I think. You know, the thing about this place, you heard Ty Dillon talk about, we haven't even made a lap in the car. Really and truly, this is one of those joints where you don't have to. You just go out there and hold it wide open, keep it on that yellow line down there. It's pretty simple. Right now, I love qualifying. It's the only time I'm on the track by myself.
We can see up there the RPMs are down a good bit from some of the other cars that we've seen. We've seen, I think, as high as about 8,100. I would think maybe the cars that go for the pole here be up 82, you know, probably 8,200. Obviously, lack a little speed here for Cole Witt, but I do love what I've been seeing out of this kid these last few weeks on those short tracks. It's been fun to watch.
6th of 7 for Cole Witt, 52.09. And again, all of these remaining cars, with the exception of Corey LaJoie, are locked into a spot in the starting field. Danica Patrick wheeling the Aspen Dental Ford. Ran Chevrolets last year. Now Stuart Haas Racing, 4-car team, switched to Fords for 2017. She started 12th at Atlanta, finished 17th there.
Mike, there's been several female drivers here at Talladega all the way back in 1971. Paula Murphy ran 171 miles an hour around this place. Lynn St. James ran over 200. Patty Moise, they built a special little Buick for her, and she came down here and ran 216 miles an hour.
A lot of speed records have been set here. That's for sure.
You can just barely hear a faint sound of a little bit of dragging, side skirts, the things underneath the car. They just want to get those heights just right where you just barely hear that little skip on the racetrack as it loads into the corner.
Wow.
A little surprised there. I would have thought Danica would have gone to the top right now.
51.21. And now from here on, we're qualifying in the inverse order of practice speed, so you would expect every car to be faster than the ones before it, based solely on practice. Here's Ty Dillon, younger of the 2 brothers from Welcome, North Carolina, making his first Cup start at Talladega. He was in the race here last spring. He relieved Tony Stewart.
Yes, sir, he did.
Finished 8th.
Hey guys, if you remember yesterday what little practice we got, Danica Patrick in the 10, Ty Dillon in the 13, and actually Kyle Larson in the 42, the next driver out, they had to serve a 15-minute penalty for inspection issues the week before at Richmond. Just as the track started getting rain on it, that's when they were released from their penalty. So these laps you're seeing with these 3 drivers, first lap on the racetrack realistically this weekend.
Yeah, Larry, and all those other cars are for the most part, we're all drafting in pretty large groups. The Fords were all together, about 6 or 7 in one group. The Toyotas and Chevrolets.
Ty Dillon is second to Matt DiBenedetto, 51.09, 187 and a half, roughly, for the Geico Chevrolet. Kyle Larson, the California kid from Elk Grove. Started third at Bristol, and of course won at his home track in Fontana, California this year. At Daytona, he was leading on the last lap, ran out of gas.
Boy, he
fuel
wasn't
mileage
alone.
gamble, finished. No, he was not, but he wound up 12th at Daytona. Coulda, woulda, shoulda won it.
What an exciting finish to the Daytona 500. You could not predict what was going to happen there at the end of that race. So many different scenarios were playing out. Fuel mileage, cars swapping lead, running that high line, and who comes out on top? Kurt Busch. But this guy right here, he could have gotten it done.
He has 2 top 10s at this track in 6 starts. Wheeling the Share an Ice Cold Coke Chevrolet.
Wow.
For Chip Ganassi. Top of the chart for Kyle Larson, 188.4. How fast are they going here? Well, that car on the bottom's doing well, about highway speed. Third generation racer Corey LaJoie in the dustless blasting Toyota just snuck in there, 51.722, and that beats DJ Kennington for the final spot in the field. Kennington, the Canadian, unofficially will be the one driver headed home. There's the Camping World Ford. This will be David Reagan out of Unadilla, Georgia. Fourth fastest, 51.098 for Reagan, who won here in 2013. There's a 4th generation driver, Jeffrey Earnhardt from Mooresville, North Carolina. He's been wheeling this number 33 all season. A Chevrolet. Started 31st in Texas, finished 26th in Daytona, his season best, 52.414.
Yeah, he's got
for
one
Kerry
start.
Earnhardt's
He's got
son.
one start here, Mike, so doesn't have a lot of experience here. I think he finished 34th here last fall.
As Chris Buescher starts his run, here's Jamie.
Well, Kyle Busch walking down pit road ready to qualify. So you turned 13 laps in practice yesterday. Did that give you any kind of indication what kind of practice?
Good?
He's good. Our camera's. He's good.
Yeah, look what's in the background.
Oh, yes, we want to show the car because I think it's the best looking car here. Lots of color on there, Kyle, but what kind of speed do you feel like it has in it?
I don't know. I didn't feel very good about it yesterday. We were kind of in the pack and running with our teammates there, drafting a little bit, and I had a hard time kind of hanging on to the back of it. So I don't know. I've sat on the pole before at Daytona, and it felt horrible in the draft, and then I've qualified 36th and felt horrible in the draft. So I don't know what we have in store for the Skittles America Mix Camry today, but you know, just optimistic about it anyways. Go out here, lay a lap down, see what we can do, and see where it stacks up for the rest of the day and what we got to do for tomorrow.
Happy 32nd birthday last week.
Thanks, Jamie. Chris Buescher from Prosper, Texas. Picked up a win last year at Pocono and a top 20 start at California this year. 51.471, 186.
Mike, you take a little Velveeta cheese, put that with some macaroni. You talk about some good macaroni and cheese, baby. No, I'm telling you.
Here is Gray Galding, the rookie from Colonial Heights, Virginia, in the Sunfrog.com Toyota. He started 29th at Texas, and he is making his first Talladega appearance in a Cup car. Now that yellow line over on our scoring pylon between Witt and Gase, that separates the top 12, the drivers that will advance to the final round of qualifying and run for the pole, from the rest of the field, which will be set here in round 1.
Mike, you see those double yellow lines? I give you credit for that. You may or may not remember this, but when we're talking about yellow lines, you can't go below the line, you can't pass below the line. You well, on the highway, they said double yellow line.
Yeah, it's a no passing
It's
zone.
a no passing zone.
And that's what it is at Daytona and Talladega only. Those are the only 2 tracks where that comes into play.
I remember fondly before they had that rule going down below that yellow line when you could.
Well, like Daytona, and here you could do that back in the day.
Greg Galding is 11th after his run. Here's Larry Mack.
Mike, you know, whether you're a casual fan or a hardcore NASCAR fan, you hear the word restrictor plate. The restrictor plate goes underneath the throttle body. It's that aluminum plate with the 4 holes. Now, from last year, they've reduced that by a 64th of an inch. It's now is 7/8 of an inch. Now, that 64th of an inch, that doesn't sound like much, but depending on who you talk to, it's about 10 to 14 horsepower. Why do we run the carburetor restrictor plate? 30 years ago, the entire field qualified over 200 miles per hour, Mike. Bobby Allison about went in the grandstands. Thus was the birth of the restrictor plate.
Here is Jamie McMurray from Joplin, Missouri. Started 3rd at Daytona in the creatively named any size soft drink for $1 at McDonald's Chevrolet. Now,
That's a mouthful.
You bet.
Looking pretty good here. He's
His teammate Larson's already first, so yeah, he looks like he might come in either right there ahead of him or behind him.
Second by 6/100ths of a second to his teammate at Chip Ganassi Racing, Kyle Larson.
That's what you like as a teammate. We're right together, brother.
Well,
Your car isn't any better than mine.
And that's a good sign of that team's efforts.
Yeah.
You know, getting both cars to be that consistent. It's a big deal.
Now, 7-time NASCAR champion Jimmy Johnson in the Lowe's Chevrolet will be our next qualifier. His best start of the year, 11th at Bristol, a race that he won.
When you said here, that's a big deal. That's a big deal on the track. Big deal right there on the track right now. Jimmy Johnson. 82 wins, man. That blows my mind. Every time I say that, I say 82 wins. And we've seen him win. Mike and I have seen him win every one of those.
You sure have.
And 2 of those wins came here at Talladega. But in the last 7 races here, he has only one top 10 finish.
I hate to tell you this, DW, but I kind of saw the back bumper of a lot of those wins myself.
So
well,
the drivers
you are his hero.
Drivers didn't have to be here until qualifying for 3 o'clock. What did Jimmy Johnson do? A 32-mile bicycle ride today.
I'm telling you, it's insane over in the coach lot. Everybody's got a bicycle.
6th fastest for Jimmy, 187.3.
And they put on those spandex things and they go riding out of the coach lot every week.
Why don't you join them?
Now,
I don't have enough speeds on my bicycle.
I heard the first time that they took Dale Jr. riding on his bike, he would put on the spandex in the bus lot. He had to go outside.
When I made him take it all outside so nobody would see him. I know I heard that too.
A.J. Allmendinger, the Kroger Quick List Chevrolet. It's easy for you to say. Now his teammate Chris Buescher is 10th fastest right now.
AJ's looking to improve that a good bit. Flirting up there with the 3rd position so far.
You know, you don't think about this very often, but he drove for Penske for a while, and of course he qualified outside pole here in 2012, driving one of those Penske cars.
Looks like a top 5 run here. Our predictive chip in yellow there at the upper right. Best finish here, 5th in the spring of 2014 for AJ.
He's a funny guy, you know. I've seen him on the hub, and he's got a great sense of humor.
NASCAR Race Hub on FS1 Monday through Thursday evening.
I learn something every time I watch that show.
4th for Allmendinger at 187.8. Mayetta, New Jersey's Martin Truex Jr., winner at Las Vegas, where he started outside pole this year. He won the pole here last fall, but suffered engine failure during the race, did not finish.
Yeah, what a devastating blow to that team. Had repercussions for the championship.
Yeah, he and Keselowski both. I mean, they were contenders. That would have been a great. 2 cars have been in the final showdown there, but they both had engine failures here.
That's right, knocked him out of the final round of the playoffs. He's 2nd in points coming in here. 24 starts at Talladega, 1 pole, 2 top 5 finishes.
This car just runs good everywhere they go now. I mean, I don't think they really have a track that's an Achilles heel for them. They seem to run good short tracks, road courses, super speedways, everywhere they go.
Top of the chart looking here.
Oh, by a couple tenths, actually. I think this is a really good lap.
Wow, 50.573, 189.3 for Truex.
I think that might be setting the mark for what we're going to have to shoot for today.
That's faster than Kyle Larson by a quarter of a second.
It's a good bit faster than he practiced too. He ran there 50-90. 50-92 in practice. So
yeah, he was one of the few cars that did not go out in a large group and draft.
Landon Castle from Iowa, driving the Loves Travel Stops Ford, has been lighting up Twitter in recent weeks. He would tell his followers, he said, give me a challenge. And they'd say, okay, I want 2 tickets to Talladega. Okay, get me 3,000 retweets or whatever. And he just lit up Twitter with all these fans retweeting him for, and he ended up spending a lot of time and money at the post office having to send out hats and die-cast cars.
He didn't know how much work he had ahead of him, did he?
But he really got his followers and his fans involved. That's a boy.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job. Love to see what the drivers are doing on social media.
He started 15th in Texas, and he is 4th quickest right now and well ahead of his teammate David Reagan. About 1 hour ago on Fox, you saw Eric Almirola in the Biaggi Denbesti Ford Mustang drive to victory lane in today's Xfinity Series race. Jamie?
And he literally just walked over here from victory lane. Haven't even changed your fire suit. You're all sticky. I see it in your sunglasses. How cool is it to walk out here and get the high fives?
It feels good. I knew fresh from Florida orange juice tasted good, but I didn't realize how sticky it was when it got sprayed all over you. But that was great. That was such a fun race to run, and what an incredible car. It was super fast. So we've got fresh from Florida in victory lane already, and it was with a Ford Mustang though. So now we got to try and get this fresh from Florida Ford Fusion to qualify up front. I feel good about it. Our car was pretty good yesterday for the few laps that we got in practice before it started to rain. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Going for the pole coming up shortly, Mike.
Thanks, Jamie. Austin Dillon on track in Richard Childress's famed number 3, and it looks like he'll be close to the top of the chart here.
He started outside pole here last year.
Second for Richard Childress's elder grandson, 189 miles per hour. Vince?
With Matt Kenseth, last week's pole winner at Richmond, would you get about a dozen practice laps yesterday? Does that have any impact on how you qualify here today?
I don't think so. I mean, there's not a lot the driver has to do with qualifying really here at Talladega. So looking forward to getting qualified and then racing tomorrow. There's always a lot of waiting around here for drivers, a lot of work by the crews. These cars, all the little things make such a big difference. So these guys done a great job on our Circle K Camry. So hopefully we get a decent lap and, but more importantly, survive tomorrow and be in that lead group at the end.
Thanks, Matt. Mike.
Thanks, Vince. Ryan Newman out of South Bend, Indiana, came out of USAC Open Wheelers to NASCAR, where he's won a Daytona 500. 2008, his only restrictor plate win. He's in a Richard Childress Chevrolet. This one's the Caterpillar car, and looks like he's going to be right close to his teammate Austin Dillon.
Mike, you think if you had 51 poles, you would have won a restrictor plate pole sometime or another, but he never has.
Nope. He started second at Atlanta this year. He's had an outside pole at Talladega, not a pole. Ryan Newman times in third. Wisconsin's Paul Menard in the Valvoline Menard Chevrolet is now our fastest qualifier at 50.54 seconds. And Michael McDowell in the Winn-Dixie Chevrolet clocks in 7th at 50.96. That moves David Reagan down to the hot seat as far as the top 12 to move on to round 2 are concerned. Here's the Nationwide Chevrolet for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
We are in Earnhardt country, right?
Yes, sir. Outside pole setter from Daytona.
That'd be a good way to get your weekend started here. This is going to be a great shot to win this race this weekend, no matter where he starts. But if he starts on the front row, wow, that'd be big.
6 Talladega wins, most of any active driver. And look at that differential to Paul Menard grow.
It's going to be down in them, way down in them 50s.
Yeah, I thought Truex and Menard put up a good lap. This is going to be a really good lap.
Started third here last year. He's on top, 50.294. And that is a quarter second faster than Paul Menard. Junior Nation comes to its feet in the Talladega Grandstand.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe the Hendrick cars were on the front row at Daytona earlier this
chasing
year.
him.
So pretty good chance that we might see a Hendrick front row here again today.
Yeah, Junior never had a pole here. He's started third a couple of times.
What?
Never had a pole here.
That's amazing. Well, here we go.
And Eric Jones just getting ready to get in right now. You should have heard the crowd out here. You could hear it. It's visibly, you can hear it. Eric, you just got out of your Xfinity car. You had a great run there. A chance to win it. You ended up 5th. But how different did that car feel from this car?
A lot different. You know, some of the runs you get and stuff you just won't get in these cars. So I think I learned some stuff, though, getting out front and trying to lead the pack is definitely going to be a help. And hopefully I can take it over to this.
All right, first Cup race here in Talladega.
Chase Elliott. He was last year's pole sitter here. His dad holds the track record.
He was green going into turn 3, but then it seemed to go the other way. I don't know if a big gust of wind slowed him down. It's going to be really close, but not quite enough.
And the Hooters Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports is second, 5/100ths of a second slower than his teammate Dale Earnhardt Jr.
They might just flip-flop like they did in Daytona.
He got the pole at Daytona. They'll just flip in. Junior get the pole here, and he'll be outside. Perfect. That 24 car won like 6 poles in a row or something like that. Amazing number.
There's another Hendrick Chevrolet, the Universe Chevy, for Casey Kane. 2-time Talladega runner-up. He was also in today's Xfinity Series race, finished 15th.
I think the surprising one when you look at the Hendrick camp is Jimmy Johnson in that 48 car. They definitely have not shown the speed that their teammates are showing right now.
That's right. Johnson's already been bumped from the top dozen. A.J. Allmendinger on the hot seat now.
I think Casey got one. I think he has one pole here. It's been a while. I think it was back in 2012. I don't think he's ever won a plate race.
You're correct. 53 restrictor plate races, which are the 2 fastest tracks, Daytona and Talladega, where the engines are restricted.
He just got some good practice. He was in that Xfinity race earlier.
6th for Kane, 189 miles per hour, and that bumps Allmendinger out of the top 12. Matt DiBenedetto on the bubble now. Kyle Busch has 1 Talladega victory. It came in 2008. His best start this year, 3rd in Atlanta. Finished in the runner-up spot at Martinsville. Tracking right now at 3rd. With his Skittles Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Pretty cool looking paint scheme there. It's got a lot going on, but I like it.
I do too. It's cool looking. Yeah, I think we'll be able to keep up with him okay.
He was runner-up here last year in this race, but that was his only top 10 in his last 5 Talladega starts.
Such a love-hate relationship with these restrictor plate races.
3rd for Kyle Busch, 189.6. And that moves Landon Castle onto the hot seat as Kyle's teammate Matt Kenseth in the Circle K Toyota rolls out. He was the pole sitter last week at Richmond. So we would expect each of these drivers coming up to be right at or near the top as we qualify in the inverse order of practice speed yesterday.
Yeah, all the Fords were at the top, then all the Toyotas, and then all the Chevrolets. So, and we're going in reverse order. So we're going to see all the Fords at the end of our qualifying session.
And there was about a large number of Fords that actually drafted together. That's why they were at the top of the board. And you know, not as much of an organized draft with the Chevrolets. So the Toyotas were actually able to get right in behind those Fords. So that's why you're seeing a lot of teammates come one after another here in qualifying, because that's the way they were running on the track yesterday when they posted those times.
Matt has 1 Talladega win. It came in a Jack Roush Ford here in 2012. And he's looking for a rebound here at Talladega. 3rd for Matt Kenseth. Here's Vince.
Brad Keselowski won this race a year ago, and qualifying has been a strength of this two-car team this season. 5.6 average starting position. What's been the key for you guys in qualifying?
Well, I think I ruined it last week. I had a bad effort in Richmond, but no, it's been a good year for us in qualifying. We've had a great season altogether. You know, running up front last week was good. To be fast at Richmond and be fast at a mile and a half, so short tracks and the super speedways. So, you know, I think in a season, Vince, if you can win at all the different types of tracks, you've had a really good year. And then, of course, you want to win the championship, too, and win the big races. But we've been very competitive at all styles of tracks this year that we've been to, and hope to keep that up here at Talladega.
Yeah, certainly off to a great start, Brad Keselowski.
Well, all the Gibbs Toyotas are qualifying almost right together. Here's another one. Denny Hamlin from Virginia has one Talladega win. It came in the spring of 2014 in his FedEx Express Toyota.
Mike, the box is so tight when we come to Daytona and Talladega. The rule package, so many things you just can't, there's nothing you can do. Literally, they give you springs and shocks for the back of the car. The rules are pretty darn tight. It's pretty hard to get an advantage.
Hamlin knocks out Michael McDowell. Jamie McMurray goes to the hot seat. And here is Eric Jones, driving for Furniture Row Racing, the rookie from Byron, Michigan, in the Toyota Care Toyota. And he just finished up the Xfinity race today in 5th place.
Yes, his first start here at Talladega in a Cup car. Like you mentioned, he just raced earlier, and he'll get to race tomorrow. So some valuable experience for this young man. If I had to hire somebody, find an open seat by chance, he'd look mighty strong at this young man.
Well, there's going to be an open seat or two at the end of the season.
There is? Well,
yeah.
Who knows?
I'll be
Save your fire
surprised
seat.
if Gibbs or Toyota lets this one go.
Well, I would be too, but I'm just saying, you know, if I had a choice.
He has 2 starts here or 3 now in the Xfinity Series and 2 in the Truck Series. As Eric Jones comes across the line in 8th place. Coming up, Daniel Suarez and Eric Almirola. Rookie Daniel Suarez from Monterrey, Mexico is NASCAR's Xfinity Series champion, and he just clocked in 4th fastest, second among the Toyotas at 50.48 seconds. And Eric Almirola is not going to make round 2. He is 14th quickest in his fresh from Florida Ford, the Richard Petty car, after just winning the Xfinity Series race earlier this afternoon. Here's the 5th third bank Ford, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. from Mississippi.
Put a heck of a lot.
Roush Fenway Racing.
This little car, this team, they just get better every week.
DW, he's been telling me, he's been preaching. I'm telling you, they're making progress. They're making progress. I said, I hadn't seen it yet, DW, but
it's there, buddy.
You're starting to make me a believer.
What's he had, like 3 or 4 top 10s already this year?
Yeah. He's had 3 top 5s here, and he goes to the top. 190.8 for Stenhouse. He'll move on to round 2. That bumps Ryan Newman.
That'll get your attention.
Puts Casey Kane on the hot seat. Jamie.
Well, Boyer was just watching that, and you pointed at the screen. What do you think? You have anything for Stenhouse?
5018's pretty speedy. These Fords, you know, I just saw Doug Yates sitting over there watching his pride and joys, you know, go down the track, and they're super fast. It's fun to have those engines under the hood. Our Haas Automation Ford it's been fast. You know, yesterday you get it out there in the pack and amongst the wolves, and you know, it did all the things you know, that you look for. You look for, you know, how it reacts. You know, as somebody approaches you, you know, when you get that help from behind, what happens? You know, how fast does it take off? Does it pull away from that guy? And that baby was a bullet. You know, as soon as I was getting some good runs with Harvick, which is the 2nd fastest car here. So, you know, it's going to be a lot of fun. It all starts with a fast car, and these guys at Stewart Haas Racing have done a great job of, you know, bringing us 4 hot rods that are capable of winning this race.
All right, Clint Boyer, 2-time winner here, but never won the pole.
Nope. Doug Yates puts the power to these Fords in the Cup Series, where Ryan Blaney for the storied Wood Brothers just squeaks into the top dozen. 50.59. There is Yates, son of Hall of Fame nominee Robert Yates.
Yeah, I want to say hello to Robert. I know you're watching, Robert, and he is the creator of this package that we see these Fords all running today that are having so much success with. Robert got that going, and his son Doug has just kept it up, continued on.
So that bump Casey Kane puts Austin Dillon on the hot seat. Here's the other Roush Fenway Ford, Trevor Bayne, out of Knoxville. He's had top 15 finishes the last 4 races. Started the season off with a top 10 at Daytona. This is the Advocare Ford.
Always, I'll never forget the day that he won the Daytona 500. That was quite a thrill for him and for us, because it was his birthday, if I recall. And what a celebration.
And with the Wood Brothers.
Well, it was so cool, because the Petties and Roush and I don't know who. There were so many people in Victory Circle that day. It was like a who's who.
4th for Trevor Bayne. He'll move on to round 2, and that bumps Austin Dillon. Next up, Joey Logano, who went to Victory Lane last week in Richmond, Virginia. Driving for Roger Penske, whose team has won the last 3 Talladega races. Now that Richmond win not without controversy. In post-race inspection back at the NASCAR R&D Center, rear end alignment issues will cause Logano to forfeit money, points, lose his crew chief for a couple of races, and that win will not count toward a spot in NASCAR's season-ending playoffs.
You know what I've liked about this group this week? They have addressed that. They owned up to it. They didn't, they aren't appealing. We had some parts we thought were pretty cool. NASCAR didn't like them.
2 Talladega wins for Joey, coming in the last 3 races. Looks like he's going to lock into the top dozen here with 4 cars to go after him. 9th for Logano.
It's going to be close.
50-54, 189.4. That will bump Ryan Blaney and put Eric Jones Toyota on the hot seat. Kurt Busch, older of the 2 brothers from Las Vegas, driving a Stewart-Haas Ford. This is this week the Haas Automation Monster Energy Ford. The Daytona 500 winner, crew chief Tony Gibson, and owners Gene Haas and Tony Stewart.
Had never won a restrictor plate race until he won.
Oh, he picked a good one, didn't he?
He did do that.
I didn't realize that. I mean, he's a great restrictor.
Oh, he's a great teammate.
And,
he pushed a lot of people to the win, but he always ran second. And it was good to see him. Tony Gibson, I think that celebration Tony Gibson had in Victory Circle, it brought tears to my eyes.
Now he's got to pick it up. He's below the yellow line that would transfer him. Here he comes into the final round.
I think there maybe there's that little bit of wind we were talking about right down there in 3 and 4, a little bit of a headwind as you turn off into turn 3 and 4, and then come out of there. You lose that, and it's going to be mighty tight here. Not sure he's going to make it in the top 12.
And one thing that happened DW yesterday and might not quite get in there, 13. Something that the teams didn't get a real chance to do is get their temps right. And I think some of what you're seeing as all of a sudden the car starts picking up speed is maybe the temps start to get in that place, that sweet spot. And sometimes you can go over that sweet spot as well and start overheating the car.
Kurt Busch misses it by 7/1000ths of a second to Eric Jones. 3 cars to go, so the top 9 are safe. They'll go to round 2. This is Brad Keselowski out of Michigan, former Cup champ, with a new sponsor. This is the Fitzgerald Glider Kits Ford. They make products to make tractor trailers more efficient, both with horsepower and aerodynamics.
He had a car. I mean, he had a fast car last week. Unfortunately for him, he ran out of time because he was a little quicker than Joey, but wasn't quite able to get there at the end of the race.
4 Talladega wins for Keselowski.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Mike. When you think about who's really strong at these types of racetracks, I mean, Brad's strong in a lot of tracks, but this one in particular on the restrictor plate tracks, if he's up front, you can be assured he's going to be a threat.
He's such a student. He studies everything, and I'm sure he studies how the air flows off these cars. That's what makes him so good here. Ends up 3rd.
3rd for Keselowski, 50-33. Ricky Stenhouse still safe at the top. So that bumps Eric Jones. Martin Truex Jr. on the hot seat. He and Hamlin are at risk with 2 drivers to go, and they're both Stewart-Haas Fords. Kevin Harvick in the Jimmy John's Ford with a Talladega win in the spring of 2010. Let's see what he and crew chief Rodney Childers can do here. Thanks to Kevin for sitting in during the Xfinity race in the Fox Sports booth with Adam Alexander and Michael Waltrip.
Mike, let's watch his RPM. As he goes down the back, we see 8,300 here. Looks like flirting 82, 83. Let's see what it does, and he turns off into turn 3 here and heads over into that headwind. See if he loses anything.
You saw that. It was 190 miles per hour. Look at it drop just a little bit, about 3 miles per hour.
And he's losing a little RPM right there. So that wind is definitely having an effect.
There's a little bit of friction when it loads up into the banking and you turn the wheel, but I think more, just as much of that is that wind, DW.
I think so.
Is he going to bump into the top 12?
Yes, sir.
Yes, 11th for Harvick, 50-52. He is into the final round, and Martin Truex Jr. is out.
I'm shocked at that.
So now it's either Denny Hamlin or Clint Bowyer for the final spot. Hamlin on the hot seat, and Bowyer driving the Haas Automation Demo Days Ford on the racetrack.
That's funny. When it's Stenhouse who's on the top here, and Hamlin who's hoping he can hang on, and the ones at the top hoping he'll stay there, ones at the bottom hoping he'll stay there.
I think Stenhouse was saying, do we really have to go again? How about we just let it stay where it's at?
Oh, he's like, I think any guy like I always was. I just want to win something. I won that first round.
Now Bowyer's qualifying last because he had the fastest lap in the abbreviated practice session yesterday. He also has 2 Talladega wins.
Yeah, and I mean, you could just hear in his voice that confidence has come back. You know, he went through a lot last year before he made this move over to Stuart Haas.
Yeah.
And now he's, even though he doesn't have the speed in the car right now qualifying, I think he's got to be excited about having a shot at it on Sunday.
Jeff, I don't think it always. You can always have a car that has a little bit more downforce in it. It's not going to qualify quite as good, but it might race really good.
Denny Hamlin made it by that much. Ricky Stenhouse will lead the 12 drivers into the final round. The top 12 move on to the final round for the Coors Light poll. Positions 13 through 40 are set. Led by Martin Truex Jr. and Eric Jones in Toyotas. Not a great qualifying effort for Jimmy Johnson, but again, the thought maybe they've got some downforce built into that car for Sunday. And DJ Kennington is the one open driver who fails to qualify for the 40-car field. Vince?
With Joey Logano 10th in round 1. What do you got left here for the final round when it really counts?
It's all about what they have left. As fast as I can go. We'll see. I think a lot of times your second run picks up a little bit of speed because you get a little bit of temperature in your gear oil and stuff like that. So hopefully we're able to pick up a little bit more than everybody else and have a shot at it. But our teammate was pretty quick, so that's some promise. I hope so. We'll see. Shell Penzo Ford's got, like I said, it's decent speed. We'll just see if we can. I don't know, cool it off and make it a little bit better somehow.
3 Fords in the top 5 in round 1. We'll see how it plays out here in the final round, Mike.
5 Fords, 4 Toyotas, and 3 Chevrolets will run for the pole. Who was the last Ford driver to get a pole at Talladega? I'll tell you after this. Here are the 12 drivers that are moving on to the final round to run for the pole at Talladega, led by Ricky Stenhouse in a Ford. The last Ford driver to win a pole here, Travis Kvapil for Yates Racing in October 2008. Jamie?
Well, Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s last pole came back in 2013, so how exciting that would be. You're on the provisional pole right now, but you got to do it one more time, can you?
Yeah, let's just end it right now. No, the guys have been working real hard on our Fifth Third Ford. Doug's brought some good horsepower. A lot of Fords here. Jimmy Finning's been doing a great job on our Speedway program. Mike Kelly's been doing the Downforce program. So it'd be cool. I don't think I've ever had a Speedway pole in Xfinity or Cup. So it'd be neat to get it here at Talladega. And, there's a lot of things I want to do tonight. I want to get the pole, watch Charlie Daniels' band in the infield, and then settle in for Supercross tonight because that's going to be a fun battle. I hope Dungey pulls it off. But I got a lot on the agenda left today, so getting a pole is still on the top of that list.
Ryan Dungey versus Eli Tomac. It's coming up on FS1 tonight, the finale, Mike.
Thanks, Jamie. So, round 2 in inverse order of round 1 speeds. Denny Hamlin will be first next. Car insurance.
Now, Mike, you want a big surprise? I'll tell you when you do your baseball thing.
Well, tonight I'm conflicted because the Yankees versus the Cubs, 7 p.m. on Fox. My granddad took me to my first Cub game at age 7. My dad took me to the stadium to see the Yankees. I don't know who to pull for. I know who Kurt Busch will be pulling for. He is a Cubs fan through and through, as I was from boyhood. Of course, he got to throw out the first pitch. Can you believe that? He shook off the sign before he floated one over.
He didn't even know.
But that is a rare treat indeed. So Yankees, Cubs, flamethrower Aroldis Chapman gets to come back to Wrigley, but in Yankee pinstripes. Wow. Dale Jr. among those who will run for the pole here at Talladega right after this. Where do drivers go at Talladega to find extra speed? Out to the Talladega Boulevard. It was Cinco de Mayo last night. Is that Jeff Gordon?
Yes, it is.
Oh, you were finding a little speed last night, too.
That's a good time out there. I'll tell you what, those folks know how to get it done. It is fun out there in the infield.
Tonight
Always
will be
big
great.
party here
Tonight
at Talladega.
will be great too, Mike. Charlie Daniels, you want to see a great show. You want to see an 80-year-old man come out there and crank it up. Go see Charlie Daniels tonight. That devil will go down to Georgia.
That'll be fun.
Guys, I want to expand on something Joey Logano said a while ago about everybody feels like they can pick up speed from round 1 to round 2, and it's because these cars have been sitting all day long after going through inspection. Now that you've run those laps in round 1, there's heat in the wheel bearings, there's heat in the transmission, there's heat in the gear. You want everything to have heat in it, and then the goal is to get that water just as cool as possible where you can run as much tape on the nose as you can.
Now, Larry, how close do these cars have to be today to the way they will race tomorrow?
Yeah, unlike Daytona Speed Weeks, this is what we call an impound race weekend. Basically, after qualifying, they put these things in the garage, Mike. They pull the door down. In the morning, you can adjust the tape on the nose, the air pressure. You can warm the engine up. It's a very small amount of things that you can adjust between qualifying and race at an impound race weekend.
Okay.
You talk about the tape on the grill. Here's what we're talking about right here. You can see that grill is taped up solid. There's no opening whatsoever for air. That's going to make the most amount of downforce, the least amount of drag, but also the engine gets hot. So it's a good thing we're only running 1 lap.
Now, the location of that inlet in the grill is higher than it is at most tracks, and it's done to prevent bump drafting, repeated bump drafting between 2 or more cars. Here at Daytona and Talladega, where that opening is, the trailing car would overheat pretty quickly. Denny Hamlin, the FedEx Toyota, 50.54, and that is a pickup of 2/100ths of a second over his first round speed.
Yeah, Mike, among the top 12, but only Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick have won a pole here at Talladega, so we could have a first-time pole sitter here today.
And here's Kevin Harvick.
I love the sound of the engine just humming away.
Yeah, I'm curious to watch the RPMs up here to see how much it drops in 1 and 2 versus how much it drops in 3 and 4. We were documenting it earlier, talking about the wind down in 3 and 4. Seems to be slowing the cars down a little bit. Really didn't see the RPMs drop there, but 8,300, that's
solid.
190 miles per hour.
That's solid on 80. Before it was flickering 82, 83. Now let's see when he turns off into the wind. Automatically starts to lose 100 there. Another 100, just a couple of 100 RPM. That's a lot on a restrictor plate engine. Should start picking back up as he comes down the front here.
Now, if we were at Daytona, the start-finish line would be right there in the middle of the tri-oval. At Talladega, it's down here toward turn number 1. Harvick is quicker, 50.39 seconds. He picks up 1/4 of a second from round 1.
Yeah, I just think that's just what an incredible mind that Bill France Sr. had.
Dustiness. That's hard to drive it straight with all that wind. Yeah, 10-4.
You know, you never hear the drivers talk about the wind. The wind doesn't typically affect these cars, especially at a track like this. So that just tells you how heavy that wind is blowing when a driver says, wow, it's gusty out there.
But don't you love Rodney Childers? Yeah, 10-4. It's like,
tell me something I can fix.
Yeah, I can do a lot of things. I can't do a darn thing about the wind.
Joey Logano, the Shell Pennzoil Ford, the Richmond winner. And Miles Stanley is crew chief this weekend because it's all part of the penalties handed down from Richmond after post-race irregularities in the rear suspension.
And then Greg Irwin's going to call the race on Sunday, bringing in the specialists, bringing in the strategists. I love that move. That's pretty cool.
50.64. Logano falls off a 1/10 of a second from round one. Larry, what'd you notice there?
Well, you have that window opening on the left side. You have the window in the right side. But what Joey is doing is he's holding his left hand up there flat to try to block part of that window opening just behind the A post. Just any little something to reduce the drag of that car. You can see it right there.
Yeah, Larry, it's amazing the detail that these teams go into that, you know, the aerodynamics and the horsepower and everything for this qualifying. And so they know what things can happen in the wind tunnel. And so they'll tell the drivers, hey, if you just put your hand up right here, it might be worth, you know, a little extra count of drag or less drag.
Yeah, and it's not illegal. I mean, nobody said the driver can't put his hand up there and block that opening. So that's just being pretty smart.
Now, the purpose of that opening so the driver can see his side view mirror, which is just inside of the sheet metal, out of the wind.
Yeah.
But you don't need that when you're the only car on the racetrack. No. Paul Menard, the Valvoline Menard Chevrolet, one of 3 Chevys in the top dozen. Second, 50.495. He picks up 5/100ths and pushing a little steam there as he completes his run.
This is a cool looking car, though. I love that paint job. Is awesome. When I say paint job, I say, why did I say that? That wrap is awesome.
Not all of them are wrapped. I know this one is.
Some of your cars are not all painted, and I love that too. But I get called out every now and then about things like that by a member of my family.
Well, if you painted a car, you would then put cut vinyl stickers on it to make a scheme like that. So I guess you could paint it, or you can wrap the whole car in pre-printed vinyl in that scheme.
I know for the Daytona 500 being on the front row there, it's such a big deal, such a prestigious pole or front row to be on, that they will paint everything on the car. So, you know, even the sponsor logos, sometimes they will paint. Some of it's for weight, you know, and a lot of it obviously for drag.
Yeah, I think they clear coat a lot of this stuff when they do that. So you don't want any edges. You want to run your hand across that car and it's as slick as a
baby's bottom.
Yeah,
there you go.
Where you're going.
Kyle Busch, 50.51. He is 3/100ths of a second slower than round one. So right now we have a Ford, a Chevrolet, and a Toyota in the top 3 spots as Daniel Suarez makes his run in round 2.
So DW right away, I'm looking at the RPMs in the corner here for Suarez in 8,200. We saw where Kevin Harvick was 8,300. So, you know, right away you're seeing where some of that speed is at out there on the track.
See the yellow stripe on the rear bumper? That's required of all rookies in the top 3 NASCAR series.
In the past, I always said we didn't have enough of those. Right now, we have a pretty good selection of yellow bumpers to choose from, or several of the guys are rookies and doing an incredible job. I love
and
rookies.
I remember how much action in Daytona that race there was. I can't wait for this race tomorrow. These young guys, they love to dice it up. There's no patience. They're just going for it.
Second for Suarez. He is 5/100ths faster than round 1. So now it's Ford, Toyota, Chevrolet on top. And here's Daniel's teammate, Matt Kenseth.
Well, that's close right there. 39 with a 4 and a 39 with a 7 between Harvick and Suarez.
Kenseth, the pole winner last year, won stage 1. Led, I think, the first 164 laps at Richmond. Threatened to stink up the show, but then cut a tire late in the race and finished 23rd. Joe Gibbs Racing has not won a race this year. They were 5 out of 10 at this point last season. Denny Hamlin said, we're lacking speed. It's a lot of little things, but he said we're lacking speed. And perhaps it's not as magnified on the short tracks as on the big tracks, but 4 Toyotas in this final round show that they have at least some single lap speed here at Talladega.
Yeah, and then next week we get to find out if they've improved that mile-and-a-half program when we go to Kansas.
Top of the chart for Kenseth. 50.353. He picks up 7/100ths from round 1.
We just don't have any speed. That's a pretty good lap.
Trevor Bayne in this Roush Fenway Ford. They put both their drivers in the top dozen this week, with Trevor Bayne and Ricky Stenhouse, who was fastest in round 1.
And look at this. He's already flirting in the green. Not by much, but it's there.
See, he's flirting with 83 down the back, just like Harvick was. He's got 8,300. That's
Losing
what
a
Harvick
little
had
bit here.
Same RPM, and then we'll see when he gets here to turn 3 and 4. Harvick lost a couple of hundred when he turned off in the corner here. There's 1.
Oh, this is going to be close.
Coming back.
A couple of hundred RPM, just like Harvick. It's going to be right on top.
It's going to be a battle of thousands between he and Matt Kenseth. Coming back. Too close to call.
Definitely too close.
Good thing for computerized timing by 6/1000ths of a second.
Easy on the splitter. Easy on the splitter.
Position 2 for Trevor Bayne.
What he's saying is don't get on the brake real hard and bottom the car out and hit the splitter. That's a 35 with a 3 versus a 35 with a 9. So really, really close between those first 2 cars.
Chase Elliott, last year's pole sitter. His dad, Bill, the track record holder, carrying the sponsor that took Alan Kulwicki to the championship 25 years ago, Hooters Restaurants, on his Hendrick Chevrolet.
Now he's got some nice RPM coming up. You see up in the top right corner. If that's 8,300, that's what we've seen max on most of these cars.
You know, Alan Gustafson and the guys on this 24 team have done amazing things, getting poles at Daytona and Talladega, and I certainly witnessed that behind the wheel, but doesn't look like they have quite enough here today.
Well, the 24, the team has won the pole for 6 of the last 8 restrictor plate races at Daytona and Talladega.
Still my favorite Jeff story. When Chase won the pole the first time in the 24 car, Jeff looked at me and says, well, I guess it wasn't the driver.
5th for Chase Elliott, 50.42. Now he fell off, wow, about 8/100ths of a second from his first round speed. Brad Keselowski, former Cup champ from Michigan, driving for Team Penske. His teammate Joey Logano 9th right now and at a 50.64. Let's see what Brad can do. Owner of 4 Talladega wins, including his first career win, which he scored in a Chevy for owner James Finch.
Yeah, Mike, but this guy, he always amazes me. And I know he's a student of everything about this sport, the history of the sport, the future of the sport, what's going on right now. And I know he studies these cars and the aero package and how the air affects them, probably as much or more than anybody.
2 100ths to the good. Make that 3.
Yeah, it's coming. I mean, look how sealed up that splitter is.
That thing is
great. Great job getting the
scienced
heights right.
She's scienced out.
And obviously, they got the temperatures right as well.
Can he knock Kenseth off the pole?
Yes.
Yes. 50.28. That is half a tenth pickup from round 1 and 7/100ths of a second faster than Matt Kenseth. So Ford goes to the top of the board over Toyota with a Chevy and a Ford left.
All right.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. in his final spring race at Talladega. 6 wins, most by any active driver. He announced a week ago that this will be his final season in the Cup Series.
Oh, this place
that's
is
a lot of.
Going to go mad if he starts this race on the pole this
That's
weekend.
big RPM, 8,300. We've been seeing about 82 around turns 1 and 2. Let's see if he gets anywhere near 84. Can it get on up there? Maybe, maybe. No.
5 100ths to the good entering turn 3.
Looking pretty good.
As long as it doesn't drop down to that 81, I think.
Right now it's a Ford Toyota front row.
It stayed up there, Jeff, at 80.
It's gaining.
It's coming back. You saw him even picking up here, so he's got a good lap going. Really good.
Boy, all eyes are going to be on Dale Earnhardt Jr. this weekend.
Dale Jr. 50-19. That is a full 1/10 of a second faster than round 1. And Dale Jr. is fastest with 1 car to go.
I know Ricky Stenhouse would love to win the pole, but it might not be the most popular thing to do
the best
today.
Time to go about that.
So it's now a Chevy Ford front row, and Stenhouse comes to the green with a full head of steam.
Oh, he does.
Hey, Mike, where the start-finish line is located, we're able to see what the get-up-to-speed lap is. Leaving pit road, coming back around to take the green. This lap here was the best of anybody, even Dale Earnhardt Jr.
And Mike, Larry, we're seeing 8,400 RPM down the back. Hadn't seen that on any other car.
Look how much he's gaining. Over a 10th.
This thing is bad fast.
Ricky Stenhouse grew up on the dirt tracks of Mississippi and took his skill, turned it into a cup career with owner Jack Roush. He and crew chief Brian Patty trying to take the pole from Dale Earnhardt Jr. and does. 49.99.
Good job, boys. Appreciate everything.
Stenhouse picked up 2/10 of a second from round 1.
Brian Patty is crew chief walking down through there with his chest kind of poked out. I don't blame him one bit.
Second career pole for Stenhouse.
Look at that gap between first and second. That's quite a bit. We talk about hundreds and thousandths, and shoot, he's 2/10.
Well, he had about 100 or so RPM in the bank all the way around the racetrack.
Previously this year, he had started 4th on 2 occasions. It's his first pole of the season, and he is the 7th different pole winner this year. Had never started better than 6th here.
And what I love, that qualifies him for the Clash next year. Pole winners will be in the Clash next year, which gives this, I think, qualifying a little special meaning more than ever before.
For Ford, it's their 5th pole of the season and 25th in the history of Talladega back to 1969. For Roush Fenway Racing, their first pole of 2017 and their 3rd here.
Teammate Trevor Bayne, he's 5th, so both those Roush Fenway cars right up there today.
Well, Dale Jr. picked up a 1/10 of a second from round 1. Thought that might be enough. Ricky Stenhouse goes out and picks up 2/10. Wow.
That's impressive. You got to apologize. Dale Jr., I'm sorry we beat you.
Vince.
Well, you picked up a 10th. Not quite enough, but pretty good speed for you.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Great lap by Stenhouse and the Roush guys. They did a really good job today. Thrilled with our car, good speed. And, you know, it'd been nice to get a pole. Probably could have sat down and talked to Rick about running the Clash or something, but let's see if we can't try to get another one later on this year.
Yesterday you said you weren't all that happy with the car in practice because when you pulled out you weren't able to pass everybody. A little happier today?
If I am, I ain't gonna let my team know about it. I won't stop working.
Keeping secrets.
How about that?
Go, Junior, go.
Jamie.
And Ricky Stenhouse Jr., I asked if he could do it all over again, and he did, and Junior Nation just went, oh, man. How good does it feel though, Ricky? It's been 4 years since we've seen you start from the pole.
Yeah, it'd be nice to lead the field to green here. You know, the 5th guys worked really hard on these cars. Like I said earlier, Jimmy Finning done a great job on the Speedway cars. You know, this is cool. Doug Yates builds awesome horsepower, you know, with his dad, Robert, you know, not doing as well as we would like. You know, it'd be cool to dedicate this one to him and all the hard work that the engine shop does. So, man, it's a cool way to start the weekend. We're ready to get to Sunday.
Ricky, talking about Sunday, you've had a couple of tough years with the team, just struggling to find your way back. This year, it seems like you're back as a 2-car operation now. What's been the biggest difference in your mind?
There's a lot of difference. You know, the culture at our shop is just different. You know, the guys want to work there. They want to show up to work and work harder. They're seeing that, you know, working harder is making different results for us. And so it's been a blast for Trevor and myself to drive these race cars each week. And, you know, we plan to keep getting better and continue to bring better race cars to the track and go out there and, you know, lay it all on the line like we do every week. So it's been really fun to drive, real special. A lot of good people at Roush Fenway right now.
Second career pole, looking for his first career win tomorrow.
Larry, what do you think made the difference for Ricky Stenhouse?
Well, 2/10 is a lot, but one thing that we've picked up on with our Hawkeye system is watch Dale Earnhardt Jr. at the top as he goes to leave pit road. Look how he's spinning those rear tires. And watch Ricky Stenhouse Jr. never spins a tire, and I talked about it. His get up to speed lap was better than anybody in that final round, talking about Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 17.
Wow.
We talk about details. Every single detail really matters.
Doug Yates with a big smile. He puts the power to that car. Vince?
And one of the beneficiaries of that Yates power is Trevor Bayne, qualified 5th. You guys have made, as a group, this Roush Fenway team has made such a big stride this year in the success and the power of your cars, and reflected today in the qualifying. How good does that make you feel to be a part of that?
It's fun, man. I'm telling you, when we can come to the track and be in contention every single week, it's a lot more fun as a driver. I know Ricky's loving it today, but every racetrack we've been to this year, we've been better. Our Super Speedway program's been solid the last couple years, but for Ricky to be on the pole by a couple tenths, it's like, man, if I knew you had that in the tank, I'd have borrowed a couple. But we're in the top 5 with both of our cars. Hopefully all the other drivers can see we got fast forwards and they'll be willing to work with us, because it's going to take other guys wanting to work with you as well as your car being good and staying out of trouble. But these good starting spots give us a chance to stay out of trouble early in the race. Just thanks to Advocare, Liberty National Life Insurance, and Performance Plus, and everybody at Roush Fenway Racing.
How good does it make you feel for Doug Yates to see the recognition and the gratification that they're getting from all our hard work?
Well, it's not just Roush Fenway Racing that's making our cars faster. Doug and his group at Roush Yates Racing Engines, they're giving us this power that we need. You see it at the 1.5 miles, you see it at the super speedways. We're getting better, and it's just such a good group effort. I feel like our communication's better between our team and the engine shop. I feel like Ricky and I can feel it in the race cars. This is all about race cars and engines when you come to Talladega and Daytona, and we've got those.
Takes so many people to make it work, Mike.
Certainly does, and in the engine department, led by second generation Ford engine builder Doug Yates. Jeff, was Ricky Stenhouse out on the boulevard, Talladega Boulevard, last night for Cinco de Mayo?
He found a little extra speed. I think I see him wandering around out there.
Maybe that's part of the secret.
Talladega, here we come. The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series heads to Alabama for some super speeds at the Super Speedway. Who'll be sent to the garage early, and who'll take the checkered flag? Anything can happen at this track. Find out tomorrow. Coverage begins with race day on FS1 at 11:30 a.m. Eastern and continues on Fox at 1:30 p.m. Eastern.
Ricky Stenhouse becomes the most recent pole position winner this year, joining that group of 6th. He's in a Ford. Let's meet the fastest Toyota driver in the field. Jamie?
And he's a former winner here at Talladega, starting 4th for tomorrow's race. So what can you expect? I know you said there's not much that you can do as a driver, but when it comes to the race, there surely is.
Yeah, I seem to be able to mess them up a lot more often than I do it right. So, you know, our Circle K Toyota obviously has some speed in it. So hopefully I can make some good decisions tomorrow and you know, stay out of the wrecks and kind of at least be in that mix in the race. These things are so unpredictable, you never know what's going to happen. So I think you just try to learn as much as you can during the race, and like I say, hopefully be in one piece at the end and make the right moves when they count.
Now that qualifying's over, you guys had such limited practice yesterday. What's the game plan tonight and tomorrow morning? At what point do you get together with your crew chief and just kind of go over what your plan is?
Yeah, I'm okay with the low practice. I'd actually be okay with no practice at Talladega. Just draw numbers and start the race would be fine with me. But we don't really learn a lot in practice here typically anyway. There's really not a lot we can do. You know, setup-wise, all the cars are handling pretty good. And typically when we get to the racetrack, they're already trimmed out to go as fast as they can. So not a lot we're going to do anyway. Usually not a big pack in practice. So you just kind of learn as you go.
Thanks, Matt, for your time.
And standing in the garage area with Jack Roush and Doug Yates. We hear Doug's name so often, but don't get a chance to see him too often. How proud are you of the the progress you guys have made.
Oh, we love racing at Talladega, and to come down here and sit on the pole and have really fast forwards and to see Jack Roush's car on the pole is just an amazing day for us.
Big smiles on the faces down here, guys, in the garage.
Absolutely. It'll be a Ford Chevy front row at Talladega tomorrow. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the quickest Chevrolet. Matt Kenseth, the fastest Toyota. Ford takes 4 of the first 6 starting positions. A lot of talent deep in the field. How important is starting position here?
Well, I don't think it's that big a deal. The track's so big, it's so wide. We know the draft plays a huge part in how you know, what line you get in, how you move forward. So, yeah, I wouldn't be too terribly upset if I didn't qualify up near the front. Somewhere mid-pack will be okay.
You know, most drivers, Jeff, they've talked about not so much about speed, but what they're talking about is missing the wrecks.
Yeah, so hard to do. And you heard Matt say it's so unpredictable here. You can try all you want. You can try every type of strategy. You can be conservative, not make big, bold moves, and still get caught up in. So, you know, I think I like where Dale Earnhardt Jr. is at. This is one of his last Talladega races he's ever going to run, and he's going to go out there and just give it everything he has. He knows it's a great opportunity for them to get a win and also to get locked into the playoffs.
And they call Junior the Pied Piper here.
Yeah, they do. And if I was Stenhouse, I'd keep a low profile tonight. Just saying.
He won't be out with you on the boulevard, in other words. All right.
Wear a disguise.
Should be a lot of fun tomorrow. Yankees Cubs tonight, 7 Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on Fox. And I get to say for the first time in 60 years, the Yankees against the world champion Chicago Cubs. Sunday from Talladega, the Geico 500. Right here on Fox as we congratulate Ricky Stenhouse, the pole winner for tomorrow's race at Talladega.